Today, we're going to break down a really powerful philosophy from an iconic Denzel Washington speech. It's a simple idea, but it could totally change how you look at your goals, your dreams, and maybe most importantly, your failures. So let's dive right in. Denzel kicks things off with this absolute truth. Nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. He's basically arguing that a life lived in a constant state of safety is a life that never reaches its full potential. And this one idea right here is the bedrock for everything else he's about to say. So this first big idea is a direct challenge to some of the most common advice you've probably ever heard. It's all about completely redefining what it means to fall. We've all heard this a million times, right? Make sure you have something to fall back on. And look, it comes from a good place, a place of wanting us to be safe. But Denzel challenges this whole idea of a safety net. This slide really lays out the huge shift in thinking. The old way is to have something to fall back on, a plan B, a retreat. But Denzel's new way is to fall forward. It's all about keeping your momentum even when you mess up. The logic here is so simple, but it's really profound. Why fall forward? Well, like Denzel says, at least you can see what you're going to hit. It means you're still facing your goal. You're still moving in the right direction, even when you stumble. All right, so if you're going to commit to falling forward, you have to accept the fall part of that equation. And that means you need to have the guts to fail. Denzel does not pull any punches here. He's saying failure isn't just a possibility, it's a certainty. You will fail. The really radical idea isn't just to accept it, but to actually embrace it as a totally necessary part of the journey. And to make his point, Denzel uses this fantastic example. Look at this number, 2,600. That's the all-time record for the most strikeouts in baseball history, and it belongs to Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson. By that metric, you could argue he was the biggest failure in the sport. But do we remember the strikeouts? Of course not. We remember the home runs. We remember Mr. October. The failures were simply the price he had to pay for legendary success. Here's another classic example. 1,000. Think about that. That's roughly how many times Thomas Edison's experiments to create the light bulb just didn't work. 1,000 attempts that went nowhere. But the 1,001st try? Well, that was the one that changed the world. See, each failure wasn't an end. It was a lesson. It was another step forward. So this brings us to a really clear definition. To fall forward is to adopt this mindset. It's an action. It means every time you fail, you're not actually going backward. You're just completing one more necessary step on the path to where you want to be. And you know, this isn't just some theory for him. Denzel lived this philosophy, and his own story is maybe the most powerful example of all. So get this. Early in his career, Denzel auditions for a role in a Broadway musical. He thought he was perfect for it, but there was just one problem. He couldn't sing. He gave it everything he had, and he was rejected. A clear failure. And right here, this is the fall forward mindset in action. He didn't quit. He didn't fall back. He didn't rethink his whole career. That failure was just a single moment. The second it was over, he was already moving on, already preparing for the next opportunity. This timeline just shows the incredible power of persistence. For 30 years, he kept going, failing, praying, and always moving forward. And then 3 decades later, he was back on that exact same stage, not auditioning, but starring in a play that would go on to win him a Tony Award. I mean, come on. So Denzel's story really brings us to this direct question for all of us. Talent and training are one thing. Sure, they get you in the door. But it's the resilience, that courage to get rejected and just keep preparing for the next audition, that's what ultimately makes the difference. This brings us to the final, and I think the most profound part of his message. The stakes here are so much higher than just success. This is about the legacy you leave behind. Denzel paints this vivid, almost haunting picture. He says to imagine you're on your deathbed. You're not alone, you're surrounded by ghosts. And the big question is, who are they? Well, these ghosts are the spirits of your unfulfilled potential. They are every great idea you were too scared to try, every talent you let just wither away. They represent the person you could have been if only you had taken the risks. And then they speak. And their message is absolutely chilling. They tell you they came to you, and only you, for life. And because you didn't act, because you decided to play it safe, now they have to die with you. It's just such a powerful metaphor for the ultimate cost of not trying. So, what's the antidote to this kind of regret? Well, it's pretty simple. Give what you have: your time, your talents, your prayers, your resources. It doesn't matter how much you have. By putting everything you are into the world, you give those ghosts life. And that's the ultimate question this whole philosophy leaves us with. How many ghosts will be around your bed every time you choose to play it safe, to fall back instead of forward? You're not just avoiding failure, you're feeding those ghosts.